right, welcome back. They tried to warn him. Steve Ratner, a former Obama-era economic advisor, saying this in a New York Times op-ed, quote, enough already about transitory inflation as Wednesday's terrible consumer price index news shifts our inflation prospects strongly into the embedded category. Ratner believes that the, quote, original sin was a $1.9 trillion American rescue plan handed out during the pandemic. And a New York Times contributor is also receiving backlash over this tweet about inflation panic. Sarah Zhang tweets, quote, the inflation panic is, quote, driven by rich people flipping their blank over devalued assets. She later wrote that she doesn't regret her tweets. Some folks calling this another example of media Antoinettes, folks who say let them eat cake when it comes to inflation. Joining us now is Heather Zumarraga. Also back with us, Seth Denson. Seth and Heather, I still can't do it. After all this time, Seth and Heather, our money huddle.
I thought you were giving us a new name there, John.
Seth and Heather.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good, so I'm not going to do it. But anyway, I mean, who would have thought, Steve Ratner, we also have Larry Summers. Like if you put $2 trillion into the economy when things are already starting to turn around, yes, you're going to have inflation. Hindsight's always 20/20, Heather, I guess. I mean, you guys, I think, said the exact same thing when they were passing this the last time, but you're not Steve Ratner. No offense.
No, but we've been saying, well, I've been saying this for many years, even under the previous administration, saying that, whoa, wait a minute, we are no longer in a pandemic emergency crisis situation where, A, the federal government needs to be printing, well, not printing, but in theory printing trillions of dollars and spending trillions of dollars, while at the same time the Federal Reserve holding interest rates near zero, keeping them lower for longer, as well as buying bonds. So the New York Times contributor, she's really out of touch with how most Americans are impacted by the current economy. The rich aren't really impacted by your grocery bills rising by over 20% year over year. It's those people that are living paycheck to paycheck. And remember at first the administration said, you know what, inflation doesn't exist. Then it was transitory, which we've discussed as Fed speak for temporary. Then it was a high-class problem, like we're all waiting on our treadmills for Christmas. And now it's the Republicans' fault. That must be it.
And Seth, Janet Yellen, we can go back and play we won't waste anyone's time, but her telling us that it's transitory, reading in her very measured kind of, way of telling us this will go away. How can Janet Yellen retain her position? She has no credibility on this subject. She said it's transitory, but now we're looking into the fall of 2022, perhaps. She's supposed to be an expert here.
So is Jerome Powell. I mean, listen, we can go down the list of all the people that said this was going to be transitory and they were wrong. As a matter of fact, I think 6 months ago, Heather and I were on here both saying, I don't think it's transitory. And so I don't know how any of them keep their job outside of the fact that they have the mainstream media that is constantly propping them up, and people like Sarah Zhang, who's out there. Really, she's an instigator. She's a Twitter instigator. That's what her primary focus is on doing these things. But listen, one of the key points that is kind of anti that tweet is the fact that, she's saying that rich people are upset over their assets. Actually, rich people's assets are inflating in value as well. And so it's not that. When we talk about a 6% inflation rate, you got to understand that that's a 6% overall average. But the things that impact the working class the most, fuel, groceries, those types of things, those are inflating at 10, 20, 30, 40%. And so she's out of touch here, as so is the mainstream media.
Yeah, and of course, nothing like a Federal Trade Commission investigation to bring the cost of oil prices down. That's what President Biden is now threatening, Heather. That always works when you threaten these massive oil companies. I'm sure we're all going to be paying less at the pump in just a matter of moments, right?
Well, even more. Gas prices are already at a 7-year high across the country. I mean, the administration is now urging oil and gas companies to bring down oil costs. Those same companies that were trying to bankrupt and put out of business, even the nominated currency comptroller, when she was questioned about how to help the oil and gas companies or how can they pump more oil, she said, no, put them out of business. It's all part of and I'm paraphrasing here, it's part of the Green New Deal, Green New Initiative, right? It's no secret. Even the energy secretary recently laughing on air when she was asked, how are we going to bring down gas prices for everyday Americans? And she said, do you want me to wave a magic wand? No, we want you to turn back on drilling. Let the pipelines go on. I mean, in Michigan right now, the Democratic governor is shutting down a pipeline in Michigan. It's the exact opposite of what would make rational sense and what we're supposed to do to reduce oil and gas prices for lower income and middle income Americans.
It's going to be a long, long winter for lower and middle income Americans because of the cost of heating fuel and gasoline. And of course, yeah, these are just first world problems if you listen to some of these folks.
Wave a magic wand.
Wave that magic wand. All right, we're going to wave a magic wand and start the show all over again. We got a whole brand new hour of John Bachman coming up at 1 o'clock. Dave Rubin will be with us back on a Thursday. What are we going to talk about? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. Don't go away.